Hi, Misha here, and we're keeping on with Predators because it's kind of been my distraction. And it's definitely encouraged by the fact that my family is joining in. This video is going to be several things and even a lot of story time, a lot of personal talk, and also a question. Anywho, we've looked at some of the newest figures from NECA. Now let's look at their very first ones from the Predator, and Predator Alien series. The so-called Wolf Predator. Now, okay, the very, very first ones in this series were aliens, and then the second ones were the masked wolf. But, well, so much of this guy is his face. And we have two versions here. Standard and damaged. And yes, these came out, I believe, 2008 and 2009 in that time period. And no, I haven't had them a long time. In fact, people who keep things in box, avert your eyes now. I actually just unboxed them today because I found these new old stock for honestly a really good price. If you look on eBay, they're $80, $100 in the package, and found them for about half of that or even less. And there's also a reason I picked up two that I'll discuss at the end of the video, and then I'll ask a question. But as always, let's dive into the lore, because he was from Alien vs. Predator Requiem 2007 film. I believe it came out around Christmas. And it's not exactly well liked. Although now I don't know if it or The Predator from 2018 is considered the worst. Either way, if there is to be a bright spot in this film, it's either Wolf or the Pred Alien or Predaline or whatever you want to, I don't know, that's like a chocolate. So you can let me know what you think. And I know some people really like the film too, so hey, fair play. But let's talk about Mr. Wolf here. His name is actually an homage to Reservoir Dogs. Can't fault them for that. Good film, in my opinion. And he's an interesting Yautja. Now, we had AVP. Now, let me go back. We had Predator 1, Predator 2, kind of tall, lanky predators. Muscular, but more of a different body type, played by Kevin Hall. For AVP, Ian White played them, and they were bulkier, more. It was the 90s, 2000s, early bulky, muscular was in. That was AVP in 2004. For Requiem in 2007, they kind of wanted to return to the lankier, but still tall body form. So in universe, he is about 7.5 feet tall. Interestingly, still played by Ian White, at least for most of the film. There was a couple of other things and voice and all that. So a bit of a return to form. Now, a lot of this guy's backstory and whatnot is actually inspired by Broken Tusk from the AVP comics, 1989, 1990, that period. And I do have Broken Tusk from the NECA series. Unfortunately, he's kind of in the back row, and I'm being lazy. Honestly, it's the middle of the day, and I have limited time, but we'll look at Broken Tusk. Now, Broken Tusk's backstory, he was a seasoned alien xenomorph hunter, had received damage. Also, interestingly, he carried a handheld energy weapon called a burner, plasma caster, whatever, instead of a shoulder mounted. And again, he had the face damage, hence his name. So you can kind of see where old Wolfie gets it from. He has major acid burn on his face. He's got one of his tusks or mandibles broken off. This guy's been there. This guy's seen some shit. The director said, the design team said that he's, a 40-something predator, kind of in human years, he would be much older, but he's middle-aged, maybe past his young, virile prime, but he's seasoned, smart, things like that. He's been there, so he has battle scars. Maybe he's a little slower moving, but he's a little more clever. And his job has been he's a xenomorph killer, hunter, and whatnot, and kind of a cleaner. Hence the name Wolf, at least nickname Wolf. He fixes stuff. I think of Mike from Breaking Bad. He's Mike from Better Call Saul. A little bit younger, but still, doing that thing. Yeah. Anyway, so AVP ends with the pred alien bursting out of Scar. I kind of have a problem with that. I don't know why. Scar had to have known he was impregnated. I don't know. It just doesn't seem very Yautja of him to let that happen, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it happens. Now, some people think that the mothership crashed. No, you see that it's actually one of the smaller scout ships that takes off and crashes in Colorado. And Bull, one of the aliens, one of the predators on the ship, is able to get off a distress call before the pred alien slaughters them all. And Wolf here picks up on the call, and this is the first time on screen we see the Yautja, the Predator, homeworld. So he's chilling in his little cabin. Again, he's kind of like the beginning of Airwolf. That's a throwback, isn't it? Chilling out in his cabin in the woods on Yautja, and gets the call, and he suits up. He gears up, doing some Liam Neeson shit. He packs a bunch of things. Of course, he's got the usual stuff like the wrist blades. He actually loads up with 2 plasma casters, at least by the time of the film. And his most distinctive weapon is his whip here. And if it looks like it's made of an alien tail, well, it's because it is. I guess what better way to fight an alien than with an alien part? It would definitely be acid resistant. And that's kind of my first compliment to this figure. This whip is pretty impressive. It's not. It doesn't have like a rod in it for posing, but it is flexible, and it's just the right size to not be obnoxious. That said, when it's on the shelf, I'm gonna have to be very careful it doesn't hook other things. The plasma casters have some interesting aspects too, as do the wrist blades. On the other hand, this is NECA's first. Articulation is not fantastic. The ones we have today are marketed with about 30 points. Before that, we had kind of 20 points. This guy is probably down to more like 15. The knees bend, but the pivot up here, there's nothing up here in the joints. They don't rotate or move up here on the legs, just the knees. And the arms, the elbows don't bend, they just have swivel. Now they do have some shoulder movement, and the head does move. And I don't think there's anything in the waist. That's because NECA is kind of an offshoot from the McFarlane line. And those were more statues, resin statues, kind of like what Eagle Moss has done. And this is when they start to transition from statue-type things into more toyetic-type things. And they're still getting the hang of it. You don't just immediately dump in. Plus, in 2008, super articulation meant a different thing. He was decently articulated. Talking with my cousin Fox, who we'll get into in a bit towards the end of the video, but, he picked up a lot of these at Hastings. That's where you could find a lot of these. So you could get them in toy stores, but a lot of them were being marketed at more like novelty shops and malls and things like that. So I think they were trying to split the difference. These weren't really targeted at kids. To be fair, though, AVPR were more PG-13 films versus the original Predators, which were R, and that does show. So anyway, he kits up and hops on a ship and goes to Earth and tracks down the distress signal. Getting to Colorado, he finds the crashed scout ship and sees dead predators inside, and uses one of their biomass to see what happened, because that's what predator mass do. They record things, and realizes, oh shit, not only an alien infestation, but pred alien. Great. So grumbling that He was only a week away from retirement. He sets off into the town to uh, control the outbreak. Again, he's a cleaner. I'm actually impressed with the accessories he comes with, because some of the later ones, like the super predators, don't come with anything really. In addition to what we've seen, he comes with the shuriken. You know, at least he had 2 of these. It's kind of an iconic weapon, first introduced in their first AVP. And he actually comes with a hand to hold it. You can tell it's the old style because it's just a swivel, not the ball joint where it can move in other directions. But that looks pretty darn durable. Another thing I wanted to comment, the plastic they use. It not only feels different, it smells different. Again, I'm taking stuff that's been sealed up very well, not in cardboard, but in those actual plastic packages. So these are kind of off-gassing. If you ever open up anything old plastic, it makes a gas. Luckily, they're not tacky. Sometimes you take plastic out of the packaging, especially if it's been exposed to sunlight, and it's sticky. Yeah. It usually kind of dries away after time, but no, these aren't, so they've held up pretty well. And actually, he does have what movement he does is there, although I haven't tried moving the knees yet. I'll probably leave that alone, frankly, because you can't move up there anyway. So he gets into town. He finds some chest burster victims and ends up having to kill a cop. He actually ends up killing about half a dozen humans in the film. They usually just get in the way more than anything else. The first place he really encounters the aliens is in the sewers. He uses some traps to do that. He's trying to trap a nest of facehuggers. He ends up encountering some regular drones, alien drones. And it's actually in the sewers he first matches up with the Pred Alien. The Pred Alien kind of bursts in and ruins his fun, and they fight. And for a minute, old Wolf's trapped down there, but he actually uses a gauntlet type thing to punch through and out of the sewers and resumes the hunt. Next, he goes to the town's power plant, chasing some xenomorphs. He kind of F's up there too. He goes to shoot, but his targeting system's glitchy because of, it's a power plant, and he ends up knocking out power to the town, which in universe is annoying, but because it's a film, it adds to the atmosphere, I suppose, of dark and whatnot. I think a lot of people said it was kind of a dark film, anywho. But from that point, he moves to the swimming pool. I believe it's at the school, and does kill a xenomorph there, regular drone. And I have a question. If an alien bleeds in a pool in water, what's that do to its acid blood? Talk about peeing in a pool. What about dumping an alien's worth of acid in a pool? Anyway, next he goes to one of our favorite places, the town gun shop, where he actually kills multiple aliens, but in the process gets injured. He also has one of his plasma casters get damaged. So after more or less being successful there, he has to use his Medicomp to heal himself, and he's got to do something about his plasma caster before he can continue the hunt. And that's where we'll move over to figure number 2. You ever say something, when it comes out of your mouth, you know it's wrong? Yes, I said Reservoir Dogs. I meant Pulp Fiction. Sorry, Reservoir Dogs is on my mind for a different reason. And there's a lot of stuff rattling around in my brain, so oops. I wonder how many already commented or how many waited for me to make the thing. Anyway, our undamaged one, he is from, I believe, Series 2. Again, I could be wrong. He could be 3. 1, again, was all alien. 2 was masked, and I think they had unmasked. But there was also open and closed mandibles version 2. There's also a stealth one, a cloaked one in 3. Damaged here, he is from Series 4. And that was either 2009 or maybe even 10. No, I think it was 9, because I think by 10 they were switching over to the Predators film when it came out. Basically a repaint, but representing more the end of the film. After his caster was damaged, he used pieces to make a handheld weapon, which to me seems very much inspired by Broken Tusk again. And I really like how they kind of manage this. The caster comes on this articulated base. Even this ball on the bottom is articulated, but then it comes off, and you can make it a handheld thing. He does come with both. These little spikes, they stick in the back of him thing. And so you have some flexibility. You could even have him dual wield. Also on his back, you can stick this pack. I don't know if this is meant to be his Medicomp or one of his laser mines. One of his devices. It's very typical Yautja tech. And it actually plugs in very well. Kind of what I noticed about a lot of this. His whip, his iconic weapon, interesting story there. It wasn't necessarily originally in the script or was originally called for, but when the design team, different company, no longer Stan Winston, kind of drew up Wolf, this was in just the concept art. And everyone just loved it. They thought it stood out as different, and it is different. They thought it could be his signature weapon because, well, every Predator needs one of those. So it was immediately not just integrated into the design, but we actually see him using it quite a bit. And again, it fits his hand very, very nicely. Actually, these hands are not bad at all, but they are the older, harder plastic. So he heals up, and now he's got a handheld caster. He's kind of losing his targeting system. He's got his wrist blades. These are neat. They do extend out, and they also articulate up a bit, which is unique. In the movies and stuff, they move, but in the figures, the later ones don't. I actually really like this style. It goes in, comes out. Kind of wish the newer ones did this. Now, if they look a little short, and if Wolf doesn't seem to carry a bunch of armor, especially compared to what we saw in AVP 1, you know, those guys were armored up, and some of them, like Chopper especially, had just giant blades. Their reasoning was those were young bloods. He's an elite. He's experienced. He doesn't need a lot of armor. He doesn't need long blades. He'd rather go for maneuverability. Again, movement here. Actually has a bit of a peg up there that moves. A little bit of a swivel there and up here. Again, the knees are really stiff. They do move, but I'm not going to force it. This stuff's been sitting around, and not like you can do a whole lot with it anyway. And I don't think the feet have anything going on. The head, now that I don't have the casters kind of pinning it in, it moves side to side. The dreads they're not quite as flexible as later ones. They're there, but they're a little clunkier, a little stiffer, and a little more stuck together up top. You can tell they were still kind of working out this the dread look for them. But again, this is one of their very, very first molds. So he does have this kind of moving trophy stuff, and in general we see Wolf with a lot of trophies because they wanted to show that he'd been in a lot of battles. Not just with aliens, even though that was his speciality. Not Sith. Maybe they could have used him. Revenge of the Sith. Who would Predator sided with? Anyway, he has lost some equipment and he had to heal up, but he resumes the hunt very quickly and figures out that the aliens are trying to form an actual hive in the town hospital. So he tracks them there, and soon there has a rematch with the Pred alien. The seller I got these from actually had a hybrid, as they called it, listed, and I didn't pick it up. I'll explain why in a minute at the end of the video. But I do have a standard alien here. I think this is from the Aliens film, so he can do a stand-in. And at the hospital, he kind of gets the better of the Pred alien, who has to retreat, and so he sicks regular drones on him. He seems to kind of be operating as a king or queen or whatever. So he kills some more drones. Humans get in the way, though. He ends up more or less accidentally killing. Hey, here's a tail here. How they're similar tails. A human, which causes a problem. So he's still fighting aliens. These are cool, by the way. We'll do a film one day on them. But unfortunately, during the battle, he gets knocked down an elevator shaft and he loses his caster here, his handheld one. I guess that shows you why the predators have these shoulder mounted. Frees up their hands also means they can't just drop them. Here's it out of his hand. It actually fits in quite well. It's not going to come out accidentally. Just be careful that you don't snap the plastic. So he recovers from that, but now he's pretty much just left with his wrist blades. But that's all a seasoned hunter needs. Now, at first when I was picking these up, remember I can't see pictures, I thought this guy came with the 2 casters and the whip. I didn't realize this guy did too, because he has some additional accessories, which he's kind of just the better deal because he comes with more. He comes with a facehugger. Ta-da! This is a little different than the later ones. He's got a shorter tail, but more flexible, and he's just overall more flexible. Kind of a different rubbery plastic. And if that's not enough, he actually comes with a little chest burster. Again, different from later ones, softer plastic. So he actually has the same stuff as the first guy, Shuriken, extra hand and everything, but these 2 extra ones. I guess they were trying to entice people to buy the 4th series. So he ends up chasing the Pred alien to the roof, and then they have a one-on-one fight there. Again, don't have the Pred alien. He can stand in, but they are to scale with each other. 7-inch scale, which is basically a 1/10 scale. By this point, his wrist computer is damaged. His biomask is damaged. So he discards them. And it's just claw on claw. And yeah, he's physically outmatched, but psychologically maybe more intelligent. By the way, in addition to the acid burn, hopefully it's on the figure, he is missing, well, he has the eye, but it's whited out, so he's presumably blinded. Probably by battle, probably not by cataracts, knowing him. So by this point, yeah, he's damaged, and that's kind of where this figure represents as him towards the end of the film, fighting the Pred alien. And at first, the Pred alien's kind of kicking his butt, but they hurt each other more. And then Wolf kind of does a finishing move from Mortal Kombat. Here's the alien. You can actually open the jaw on him. And he rips the jaw clean off and then stabs him through the head with his one remaining weapon, his wrist blades. Unfortunately for him, the alien also stabs him through the torso with his tail. So they're basically both locked together. Blades through the alien's head and tail through the predator. Locked together in an embrace on the roof. It doesn't matter though, because a Raptor, FA-22 Raptor, drops a nuke on him, and there you go. End of the film. So why Wolf? Not a great film. And why did I get 2? I ended up with these guys by sheer dumb luck. Fox and I were talking, and he said he would like a wolf, that he was his favorite predator. Okay, but these have been out of print for a long time, and they've talked about doing an ultimate wolf for years and haven't. Maybe one day they will. And I said, yeah, if you find one for $50, pick it up. But I warned him articulation wasn't great and whatnot. No extra heads, so you can't do masked or unmasked. and prices were pretty nuts, even for out of the package. He said he knew, but we keep an eye out. I couldn't sleep Friday night, Saturday morning, so I just popped onto eBay. Sometimes I do that when I'm bored, can't sleep. And I noticed a seller had posted one for $50. I believe 50 shipped, which was kind of the edge of reasonable for in package, even though it's hard to find. And I thought it'd be really great if he had two. And he did, even though they were different flavors. He also had a Predator hybrid, Alien Predator hybrid, for the same money in package. Thing is, I really couldn't afford to get all three, so I could have either picked up one wolf and one hybrid for myself, but I couldn't do that to Fox, because he said he really liked him. So instead of getting the hybrid, I got both of these guys. So the idea was one for me, one for him. I figured, why not? Kind of is neat to see the first NECA, and also, it's really the only Predator from that film, kind of completing the lineup, and that's really what I want to do, is get a figure for each Predator in live action. Comics and all that, fine, but it's nice to have a Predator from each live action film. So yeah, even though the hybrid would have been kind of cool, got two of these. And I'm not disappointed. It's my first kind of early NECA. I'm surprised that this guy comes with all the same accessories plus the face hugger and whatnot. Even if they're pretty basic accessories, it's still nice to get them. So I'll kind of end with the question to you. Which do you like better? Undamaged or damaged wolf? I will say that, they're both unmasked. His mask, if you look at it, is actually a take on the City Hunter from Predator 2's mask. But in this case, I think unmasked is the way to go for Wolfie here. But which one would you keep if you were me? And which one would you pass on? And by the way, before I did this video, I made sure it was okay with Fox that I unboxed whichever one I was going to give to him. And he said sure. So I'm not that reckless. At first, I was going to keep undamaged. But I don't know. Damaged is kind of cool too, and he comes with a couple of extra accessories. So yeah, let me know what you think. Personally, pretty neat. I'd like to see an ultimate version. The fact is, though, not having articulation at the kind of hip joints means you don't have those big gaps. It also means they stand quite well. But you're pretty limited in the poses. And not having full arm movement, I definitely do not like. Having the hand only just a rotating joint instead of a ball, okay, fine, whatever. And you can definitely tell that NECA has improved their dreads. On the other hand, this equipment on the back actually plugs in a little nicer than some of the newer NECAs. And the way they did the plasma casters is pretty good. They peg in pretty well, but they're supposed to be removable, so they couldn't do them too tight. All in all, you can see where NECA has made improvements, but they weren't dog shit, even in the beginning. So, yeah. Just dumb luck, because I checked that seller after I went to bed and got up 4 hours later, Saturday morning, and yeah, all the good stuff was already gone, including that hybrid. I guess he was as far as I understand it, it's like a toy shop. So these probably just came in as part of a collection. He priced them so they'd move, and I just happened to be online when they got posted. So dumb luck, and it was really good luck that he had two, because I would have felt really bad keeping one and not giving one to Fox at all. On the other hand, would have felt kind of weird not having one for myself. So it's always nice when you can share. Good for everyone. I like the whip more than I thought I would too. Is he like a dominatrix or whatever you call it? I don't know. So yeah, let me know what you think. If they did a ultimate wolf, would that be up your alley? They would definitely have to kind of retool the entire body. Oops, something fell off. I think a caster fell off. No. But, yeah. With that, I better get back to work. This is Misha. Catch you very soon next time. P.S. No, that didn't just break. It actually is 2 pieces. I wonder why the whip... I wonder if it's a manufacturing thing. But no, went back together. It's pegged together. Let me know. In the film, does maybe the whip break there and that's what they're trying to do? But it's very clearly meant to come apart and then peg back together. Huh. Good to know. I just don't know why it does that. I thought for a second it broke. I'm like, I didn't force it. And it's a soft plastic. Okay. I just thought I'd mention that before ending the video. Now, for real. I'll catch you very soon. Next time.